1997. Hollywood. Steven Seagal sat in an interview, confident, arrogant. The reporter asked about his martial arts background. Seagal leaned forward. "People don't know this, but I trained with Bruce Lee back in the day. I taught him some Aikido techniques. He was good, but he learned a lot from me." The interview aired. Martial artists everywhere stopped. "What?" Dan Inosanto, Bruce Lee's closest student, saw the clip. He picked up the phone, called Ted Wong, another Bruce Lee student. "Did you just see what Seagal said?" "I saw it. He's lying. We need to expose this, now." What followed was the complete destruction of Steven Seagal's credibility in the martial arts world. A lie so big, so arrogant, that it ruined his reputation forever. This is the story of how Steven Seagal claimed he taught Bruce Lee, and how Bruce Lee's students destroyed him for it. But to understand how Seagal thought he could get away with this lie, you need to know who he was in 19. Steven Seagal was at his peak, action movie star, Aikido master, 7 major films, Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Marked for Death, Out for Justice, Under Siege, On Deadly Ground, Executive Decision, Box Office Gold. Hollywood loved him. Fans believed he was a real fighter, not just an actor, a legitimate martial artist who could actually do what he showed on screen. Seagal's persona: Aikido 7th Dan black belt, trained in Japan, first foreigner to open an Aikido dojo in Japan, silent, deadly, mysterious, the real deal. He cultivated this image carefully, wore all black, spoke softly, moved with authority. In interviews, he name-dropped constantly. "I trained with this master. I worked with that legend. I studied under the greatest." His ego was massive. He believed his own hype, and he wanted more credibility, wanted to be seen, not just as an action star, but as a martial arts legend on par with the greatest. So in 1997, during a television interview, Seagal made his move. He connected himself to the ultimate name in martial arts, Bruce Lee. "I trained with Bruce Lee," Seagal said casually. "Back in the early 70s, we worked together. I taught him some Aikido techniques, throws, wrist locks, that kind of thing." Bruce was already skilled, but he was always learning. He was open to new techniques. The interviewer's eyes widened. "You taught Bruce Lee." "I wouldn't say taught exactly. We exchanged techniques. But yes, I showed him some things." Bruce respected Aikido. He incorporated some of what I showed him into his system. The interview aired nationally. Hollywood bought it. Fans bought it. Seagal's mystique grew even more. But in the martial arts community, people were watching, and they knew the truth. Within 48 hours, Bruce Lee's students began investigating Seagal's claims. Dan Inosanto was in his Los Angeles home when he saw the interview. Dan was Bruce Lee's closest student, training partner, friend, one of the few people Bruce trusted completely. Dan watched Seagal's claim in disbelief, then anger. "He's lying," Dan said to his wife. "Bruce never trained with Steven Seagal. I would know. I was there." Dan called Ted Wong, another of Bruce's inner circle, Bruce's private student, keeper of Bruce's original notes and training logs. "Ted, did you see?" "I saw it," Ted interrupted. "It's a lie, complete fabrication." "We need to check the timeline," Dan said. "Make absolutely sure." They spent the next 2 days reviewing everything. Bruce Lee's timeline. Bruce died, July 20, 73. Bruce's peak teaching years, 1967, 1973, Los Angeles. Bruce's students documented: Dan Inosanto, Ted Wong, James Coburn, Steve McQueen, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Chuck Norris. Steven Seagal's timeline. Born April 10, 1952. Moved to Japan, 1971, age 19, to study Aikido. Returned to U.S., 1983, opened Aikido dojo in Los Angeles. First met Hollywood, 1987, agent discovered him. The math was impossible. Bruce died in 1973. Seagal was 21 years old, living in Japan, studying Aikido basics. He wasn't even in the United States. He'd never been to Los Angeles where Bruce taught. He couldn't have trained with Bruce, Ted confirmed. Timeline doesn't work. And even if Seagal had been in LA, Bruce would have told us. He told us about everyone he trained with. Dan looked through Bruce's personal training logs, detailed notes Bruce kept of every significant training partner, every technique exchange, every meaningful encounter. Steven Seagal's name, not mentioned once. "This isn't a misunderstanding," Dan said. "This is a deliberate lie. Seagal is claiming he taught Bruce Lee to boost his own reputation. We can't let this stand." Dan Inosanto decided to go public, and when he did, everything changed. March 1998. Dan Inosanto gave an interview to Inside Kung Fu magazine. The headline: Dan Inosanto sets the record straight. Seagal never trained with Bruce Lee. Dan didn't hold back. Steven Seagal's claim that he trained with Bruce Lee is false. "I was Bruce's student and training partner for 6 years. I was there for almost every significant training session Bruce had in Los Angeles. Steven Seagal was never there, not once. The timeline alone proves it's impossible. Bruce died in 1973. Steven Seagal was 21 years old, living in Japan, studying basic Aikido. He wasn't in Los Angeles. He wasn't in Bruce's circle. He never met Bruce Lee. Bruce kept detailed notes of everyone he trained with. Seagal's name doesn't appear anywhere. If Bruce had trained with Seagal even once, he would have documented it. That's how thorough Bruce was. I don't know why Steven Seagal is making this claim, but it's disrespectful to Bruce's memory. And it's disrespectful to those of us who actually knew Bruce and trained with him. The article exploded through the martial arts community. Other students came forward. Ted Wong, I was Bruce's private student. I have Bruce's personal training notes. Steven Seagal is not mentioned anywhere. This claim is a fabrication. Richard Bustillo, I trained with Bruce from 1967 to 1972. I never saw Steven Seagal, never heard Bruce mention him. This is a lie. Jerry Petit, Bruce was my teacher and friend. If he'd trained with someone as notable as Seagal claims to be, Bruce would have told us. He didn't, because it never happened. The martial arts world turned on Seagal. Articles appeared in every major martial arts magazine. Seagal's lie exposed. Bruce Lee students speak out. Timeline proves Seagal never met Bruce Lee. Why is Steven Seagal lying about Bruce Lee? Seagal was forced to respond, but instead of admitting the lie, he doubled down. Seagal's response made everything worse. April 1998. Seagal gave an interview to combat his critics. Look, people are misunderstanding what I said. I didn't say I formally trained with Bruce Lee in a student-teacher relationship. I said we exchanged techniques. It was informal, brief encounters. We met at martial arts events, talked about Aikido. He was interested in what I was doing. I have the greatest respect for Bruce Lee. But people need to understand, Aikido was something Bruce hadn't explored deeply. When he saw what I could do, he was impressed. We shared some ideas. That's all I meant. Dan Inosanto read the response and was furious. Now he's changing his story. First he said he trained with and taught Bruce. Now it's brief encounters and informal exchanges. And it's still a lie. Bruce died in 1973. Seagal was in Japan. They never met. Not formally, not informally, not at events. Never. If Steven Seagal had met Bruce Lee even once, at a tournament, at a seminar, anywhere, someone would have documented it. There would be a photo, a mention, something. There's nothing, because it never happened. The martial arts community demanded proof from Seagal. Show us a photo, a document, anything. Seagal couldn't, because there was nothing. No photos, no documents, no witnesses except Seagal himself. Then came the final blow. Researchers found something that destroyed Seagal completely. The evidence that emerged next ended the debate forever. May 1998, martial arts historians published a detailed timeline proving Seagal's lie. 1971, 1973, Steven Seagal in Japan. Immigration records show Seagal entered Japan in 1971, age 19, enrolled at Osaka area Aikido dojo under Haruo Matsuoka. Never left Japan during this period. Studying basic Aikido Q level, not advanced. 1973. Bruce Lee in Los Angeles and Hong Kong. Living in Los Angeles, 1971, 1972. Filming in Hong Kong, 1972-1973. The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon. Training students in Los Angeles, Dan Inosanto, Ted Wong, others. Every training session documented. Conclusion, geographic impossibility. Seagal was in Japan. Bruce was in Los Angeles, Hong Kong. They were never in the same location. Meeting was impossible. Furthermore, Aikido historians pointed out, in 1971, 1973, Seagal was a beginner. He held no advanced rank. He wasn't qualified to teach anything to anyone, let alone Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, meanwhile, was already a world-renowned martial artist. He developed Jeet Kune, trained Hollywood stars, was filming movies. Why would he seek out a 21-year-old white Aikido beginner in Japan? It made no sense. The evidence was overwhelming. Seagal had lied, completely, deliberately, to boost his own image. But instead of apologizing, Seagal went silent, stopped mentioning Bruce Lee in interviews, pretended he'd never made the claim. But the damage was done. The lie had consequences that Seagal never anticipated. Steven Seagal's reputation collapsed. Hollywood turned on him. Roddy-Dels. Directors stopped wanting to work with him. Studios questioned his credibility. Co-stars complained about his ego. Projects dried up. Martial arts community blacklisted him. Roddy-Del, Aikido organizations distanced themselves. Invitations to tournaments stopped. Magazine interviews declined. Respect evaporated. New revelations emerged. Jean LaBelle incident. Roddy-Del and Saiti. Stunt coordinator Jean LaBelle revealed. During a film, Seagal claimed, "No one can choke me out." Jean, a judo champion, choked Seagal unconscious in seconds. Witnesses said Seagal defecated himself. Story had been kept quiet. Now it went public. John Leguizamo story. Actor John Leguizamo revealed. On a film set, Seagal slammed him into a wall for laughing during a take. Seagal was a bully, not a martial artist. Stunt coordinators spoke out. Multiple stunt professionals revealed. Seagal couldn't actually fight. His moves were slow, heavily edited. Nothing like his movies suggested. The Bruce Lee lie was the crack that broke the dam. Once people questioned one Seagal claim, they questioned everything. Joe Rogan entered the conversation.
2000s, Joe Rogan, UFC commentator, comedian, martial arts practitioner, began regularly mocking Seagal on his podcast. Steven Seagal is a complete fraud. He claimed he taught Bruce Lee. That's been proven to be a total lie. Bruce's actual students destroyed him, and once you realize Seagal lies about that, you realize he lies about everything. Jean LaBelle choked him out. He can't really fight. His movies are fake. Everything about him is fake. And the martial arts community knows it. Rogan's podcast had millions of listeners. The Seagal mockery became mainstream. Memes spread. Seagal became a punchline. 2010s, 2020s. The fall continues. Seagal's films went straight to video. Low budget. Terrible reviews. He moved to Russia. Became friends with Putin. Was given Russian citizenship. His reputation in America. Joke. Fraud. Liar. All because he claimed he taught Bruce Lee. Today, Steven Seagal's lie is used as a cautionary tale. 2024, 36 years after Seagal's lie, the story has become legend. In martial arts schools worldwide, instructors tell students, never lie about your training, never claim false credentials. Steven Seagal claimed he taught Bruce Lee. Bruce's students exposed him. His career never recovered. Your reputation is everything. One lie destroys it forever. Dan Inosanto, now 88 years old, still speaks about it. Steven Seagal's lie was disrespectful. Not just to Bruce, but to everyone who actually trained with Bruce. To everyone who earned their rank honestly. To everyone who tells the truth about their background. Bruce was my teacher, my friend, my brother. When someone lies about training with him, it's personal. We had to expose it. We had no choice. I don't hate Steven Seagal, but I'll never respect him. He had a chance to apologize, to admit he exaggerated. He didn't. He doubled down, then went silent. That shows character, or lack of it. Ted Wong, before his death in 2010, Bruce was the most honest martial artist I ever knew. He never claimed techniques he hadn't mastered, never pretended to know styles he hadn't studied. He was real, authentic. For Steven Seagal to claim he taught Bruce, when they never even met, is the opposite of everything Bruce stood for. It's fake, fraudulent, and the martial arts world will never forgive it. The proof is forever online. Today, anyone can Google Steven Seagal Bruce Lee lie and find dozens of articles, videos, interviews, the timeline proof, the student testimonies. The lie is documented forever. Seagal can never escape it. Modern martial artists learn the lesson. When MMA fighters, karate students, jiu-jitsu practitioners start training, they learn the Seagal story as a warning. Don't be like Steven Seagal. Don't lie about your training. Don't claim fake credentials. The truth always comes out. And when it does, you're finished. Steven Seagal claimed he taught Bruce Lee. He thought no one would challenge him. He thought Bruce's students were too polite, too respectful, too passive. He was wrong. Dan Inosanto, Ted Wong, Richard Bustillo, Jerry Poteet. They didn't stay silent. They exposed the lie, provided evidence, destroyed Seagal's credibility. The timeline proved it impossible. Never in the same location, never met. The students confirmed. No documentation, no photos, no mentions in Bruce's notes. Never happened. The consequences were permanent. Reputation destroyed. Career declined. Martial arts community blacklisted. Became a punchline. Legacy. Fraud. The lesson is clear. Respect the truth. Honor your teachers. Never lie about your background. Because Bruce Lee's students are still out there, still watching, still protecting his legacy. And if you lie about Bruce Lee, they will destroy you. Just like they destroyed Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal said, I trained with Bruce Lee. I taught him Aikido. 1998. Dan Inosanto said, that's a lie. Here's the proof. Timeline, impossible. They never met. Students, unanimous. Never happened. Evidence, none. Not a single photo, document, or witness. Seagal's career, never recovered. Seagal's reputation, permanently destroyed. Seagal's legacy, the man who lied about Bruce Lee. Don't be Steven Seagal. Tell the truth. Respect the masters. Honor the art. Because lies always get exposed. And when they do, there's no coming back. Subscribe for more martial arts truths. Comment, did Seagal deserve this? Respect the truth.